It's autumn in New York, and Dorothy's school year is well underway. She often visits the nearby family farm and maintains close-knit relationships with her aunts and her cousin Raymond, who visits frequently. With her church currently lacking a minister, Dorothy often steps in most Sundays, reading a sermon to the congregation.
Wednesday, October 1st, sunny and temperate. Mama made mincemeat. I called at the farm after staying quite late at school. Thursday, October 2nd, warm and sunny. This seems just like summer. I went to the missionary supper tonight. They had an awfully good one. Raymond was up this evening. It is a perfect moonlight night out.
A missionary supper was a community-wide fundraiser and social event organized by a church to raise money for missionaries.
Friday, October 3rd, hot and sunny, I went to Arcade on the evening train for a weekend visit at Potter's. Spent a pleasant evening. Saturday, October 4th, hot and sunny. We planned a trip to Yorkshire, which didn't materialize. I read quite a lot and helped Mrs. P. This afternoon, Mr. P and I collected ice bills, and I stopped and called on the Morgans. It seems so good to have them handy by.
Households relied on ice boxes rather than electric refrigerators. Natural ice was cut from local ponds or rivers during the winter, stored in insulated ice houses under thick layers of sawdust, and sold throughout the year. Residents used a window card to signal the weight of the block they needed, such as 25 or 50 pounds, and an iceman would drive a wagon through town delivering the blocks of ice which were carried to the kitchen with large iron tongs. While some people paid at the time of service, others were billed monthly or seasonally.
This evening, Papa was over, and we all went downtown and eventually called on Mrs. Sutter. She has a very cozy flat. Sunday, October 5th, warm and showery. I came home this morning and read Brian's conference sermon at church. Leland R. figured largely in the choir. How we shall miss him. He starts for Alfred tomorrow. Raymond spent the afternoon and evening here. Monday, October 6th, cooler and partly cloudy. I went to a church meeting tonight. We are thinking of calling a minister independent of Java Village. I certainly hope we will have a minister somehow or other before very long. I wore my new shoes and they feel fine. Tuesday, October 7th, cool and partly cloudy. I had supper at Delaney's tonight and stayed for the evening. I had a lovely time. Stuart brought me home. It is clear as a crystal out and cold. Very likely we'll have a frost. Lynn sent home some Niagara grapes. Wednesday, October 8th, cool but sunny. This has really been October's bright blue weather. We played in the leaves today. I stayed awfully late tonight making up tests, and so had the advantage of a moonlight walk.
October's bright blue weather is a line from a poem by Helen Hunt Jackson.
O suns and skies, and clouds of June, and flowers of June together, ye cannot rival for 1 hour October's bright blue weather.
Thursday, October 9th, cool and rainy. I had tests at school. The results are slightly discouraging. Friday, October 10th, very warm but cloudy. Tests are at last over. The last standings are marked up. Mama and Aunt Eva spent the afternoon at Mrs. Day's. I stopped there for supper. Saturday, October 11th, cold and rainy. Papa went up on the farm and found Aunt Clara about the same. Tim and I went to the station tonight. Sunday, October 12th, cold but sunny. The congregation was fairly large. We had a very successful CE meeting. It is an awfully cold night, but perfectly lovely out. I'd like to walk 6 miles. Monday, October 13th, warmer and partly sunny. I certainly had a real holiday. Tim and I went down in the north pasture after rose hips. We consumed a considerable length of time in doing it, exploring different places, and got a nice basket full. Mama and I hauled out some winter clothes today and washed up summer clothes. Raymond was here for supper and the evening.
The holiday Dorothy was celebrating was Columbus Day.
Tuesday, October 14th, chilly and cloudy. They say wild geese have gone over. That means a spell of weather, I expect. I began my tax roll tonight. Mama called at Mrs. Haggerty's. Tim and I went after her. There is a half snow, half rain mist out. Wednesday, October 15th, warmer and sunny. I had a ride from school. Lillian and Mrs. Brooks called me in to help plan Aunt Anne's party. I finished my tax roll tonight. Thursday, October 16th, chilly and rainy, we had a fine missionary supper. After supper, we planned Aunt Anne's birthday party. Friday, October 17th, cold, but clearing sunnily, I wrote my contribution to the round robin tonight.
A round robin was a traditional group mail system that kept friends and family connected through a single circulating packet. The process followed a fixed mailing list. Each recipient would read the accumulated letters, add their own, and forward the entire bundle to the next person. When the packet returned to the original sender, they would replace their old letter with a new one and start the cycle again. Essentially, it was the old-fashioned paper version of the modern group chat or email thread.
Saturday, October 18th, warmer and sunny. I washed my hair. Tim and I went to the station with Papa. Mama called at Mrs. Brooks while I planned Sunday's work. Sunday, October 19th, cool and partly cloudy. I had a large Sunday school class. I went up to Mrs. Day's this afternoon to see about the party. This party has hung fire over our heads for some time. There's apt to be more or less jealousy and fault-finding in such a concern, but I guess this is going to turn out all right. Raymond called this afternoon and evening. We had a good meeting tonight. Mr. and Mrs. Miller were there. Monday, October 20th, cool but partly sunny. Aunt Anne's birthday party has at last come off. There were 35 invited, but only 20 some present. We had a splendid time, and I know Aunt Anne enjoyed it. I am sure Aunt Eva was pleased to have it done. Dawn was unable to come. Tuesday, October 21st, chilly and rainy. The cold gray dawn of the morning after. Everything as usual. Wednesday, October 22nd, chilly and cloudy. I got $20 tonight, and in Dorothy fashion, began at once to spend it. I am awfully tired and must hike to bed. Thursday, October 23rd, warmer and partly cloudy. These days are wonderfully beautiful. We are blessed in them beyond words. They should prove an inspiration to us. I sat on a fence rail east of the east barn, a romantic position, and drank in the beauty of the autumn twilight. The autumn colors on the hills and the misty gray line of the hills against the evening sky was a subject for an artist's brush, but no artist could paint the wonderful hush of the autumn twilight. I wrote to Eva tonight and sent for a book of Christmas plays. Friday, October 24th, warm and cloudy. It is almost like a summer night out. Aunt Clara and Aunt Ella have 10 little chickens. A hen stole her nest. Saturday, October 25th, warm, cloudy, and windy. Dawn and Lowell arrived via Maynard's auto. Lowell is getting awfully pretty and cute. Raymond came on invitation this afternoon, had supper with us, and spent the evening. Dawn and I were in cahoots. Sunday, October 26th, warm and rainy. I read a sermon to a fairly large congregation. We had a very successful CE meeting. Raymond came up this afternoon and had Sunday night lunch. We had a jolly laugh at the table as usual. Monday, October 27th, chillier and cloudy. Mr. Butler has at last put up notice of the school tax. I hope I'll get some money before long. Tuesday, October 28th. Chilly and very windy. Things have gone fine. I wrote to Lynn tonight. Wednesday, October 29th. Sunny, but cool. Lowell is trying to give us an all-night session. Thursday, October 30th. Cloudy, but warm with rain. Dawn and I went to the missionary supper. They had a fine one. Friday, October 31st. Warm and very rainy. I forgot my dinner today, but was supplied by the children. This is an unfavorable night for Halloween pranks.
Join us as we turn the page to November 1919 in the next chapter of Dorothy's diary. If you would like to hear more of Dorothy's story as well as the stories of others, a simple like goes a long way. To ensure you don't miss the upcoming episodes, do subscribe and enable alerts. We'll see you next time as we share these cherished tablets of the heart.